Welcome to the next module, and here we're going to be looking at sympathy, empathy, and courtesy, right? So, sympathy, empathy, courtesy. Basically, mainly as a caregiver, you're not supposed to sympathize too much. Rather, what you should do is empathize. Show empathy instead of showing sympathy. So showing sympathy is more like you're pitying somebody. You're like, oh my, I'm sorry this is going on. Oh, how do you feel? Do you feel okay? Sympathy is when you're just pitying, you're crying because she's crying, she's feeling pain. Because of that, you're expressing the pain alongside with her and you're crying with her. Sympathy is more like feeling pity for what somebody's going through, kind of expressing some form of sorrow for someone's misfortune, right? That's basically what sympathy is. But on the other hand, empathy is what is expected of you. Empathy is more professional. So what is empathy? Number one, your ability to picture what somebody is going through, which is, sympathy as well. Then communicate that you care. Communicate that you truly care. Then make sure you make an effort to help. Find a solution. Do not leave any problem unsolved. Solve the problem. That's like empathy. Finding a solution to what has brought the sympathetic feeling. Okay, so you are an empathetic carer, not a sympathetic carer. You shouldn't always be all sympathy, but of course, somehow there is no empathy without sympathy. But don't end it at sympathy. For example, you meet Mrs. Jones, and you see her and she's crying. So you're like, what's going on, Mrs. Jones? Are you okay? Why are you crying? And she tells you she can't believe she's going to miss her daughter's wedding. Her only daughter is getting married next week and she's not going to be there because her leg is broken. And you go on and on. Oh my God, you mean your only daughter is getting married and look at your leg is so broken? Oh, this must be a difficult situation for you, Mrs. Jones. I can imagine how you feel. Then you bring out the serviette, give her a serviette to clean her tears. You're there cleaning your own tears, you're crying with her. That's sympathy, and it shouldn't happen as a professional, okay? But rather show empathy. So same scenario, you come into the room, you experience that she's crying and all that. You want to quickly find out what's going on. Are you okay? She tells you the same story about her daughter's wedding. You're like, oh my, that must be a very difficult situation for you, Mrs. Jones. Do you know about Zoom or Skype? Is there any way I can attend the wedding and maybe do a live recording for you? Or maybe on the other hand, I'll quickly find out from the doctor if it is possible for us to assign a wheelchair and a physician. We can go with you and make sure you spend like 2 hours with your daughter. Find a solution. Do not leave any problem unsolved. Make an effort to try. Okay, make an effort to try. Go to the doctor's office and find out what is possible, and whatever is possible, you need to give a feedback. So we have different tips on how you can be empathetic. It's called empathetic tips. Okay, ways you can show empathy, right? One is empathetic smile. So smile, right? Your smile goes a long way. Empathetic smile. We have empathetic touch. You want to touch them, hold them firmly on their hand. You want to tap them on their shoulder and encourage them and promise them that they will be fine, right? Things like that. Empathetic stay by them. You don't just want, after they have told you something really, really, really bad, you're like, oh, you'll be fine and you're off. No, you have to stay by them until they feel, a lot better. Then we have empathetic act, empathetic effort, empathetic doing. With the scenario I gave, when you step out to go find out from the doctor what is possible, that's you actually leaving where she is, but you're leaving because you want to go find a solution for her problem. So you're going to make an effort to try to do something, put an effort towards bringing a solution to her, right? So after that, you will come back to give a feedback, empathetic feedback. Whether positive or negative, you want to give a feedback. So it's possible that the doctor says, oh, beautiful for dinner. As long as you can sacrifice your Saturday and go with her, that's fine. You come back and say, guess what, Mrs. Jones, you're going to be at that wedding. I'm so excited. I'm going to make sure the wheelchair is approved. I'm going to be there with you for 2 hours before we come back to the hospital. That's a feedback. On the other hand, it could be negative. The doctor could say, man, she cannot stand up from that bed. Her situation is extremely critical. If she gets up there, we're going to have something more serious to contend with. You still have to come back. I'm afraid, Mrs. Jones, you might not be attending this wedding, but I promise you, you're not going to miss any part. I'm going to be recording live. The media department will make sure you watch it on your screen right in your office. You will not miss it. Just do whatever it is to make sure you get a solution for whatever problem they are going through. Then empathetic compliment, we have empathetic encouragement. Encourage them, tell them they are doing great. They took few steps yesterday, today they are taking more steps. You're looking stronger, you're looking brighter, encourage them, compliment them, especially when you have seen some form of progress. Then the final one is empathetic ask. You want to ask questions. Are you okay? Is there something you want me to do for you? Do you want to drink water? So there are different ways you can show empathy. Then we have courtesy. Courtesy involves respecting somebody's feelings. You want to respect their emotions, respect their mood, their personal items, their privacy. You want to respect their thoughts. You just want to make sure that they are fine, giving them that respect, right? So they are, you don't want to be too familiar with your clients. You don't want to be too familiar with a resident. You don't want to just loosen up and, because Mr. Jones is a nice man, you're like, hey, Mr. Jones, how are you doing? Let me just put on your slippers. I want to go buy something down the road, then you're putting on his flip-flop. You shouldn't do that. Okay, so respect their feelings, respect their emotions. When they say, please give me some time, I want to be alone for some time, you should respect that. Allow them. Don't bombard into their privacy and ask them questions you shouldn't ask. Why you like that? Why is it that whenever your son comes here, it is none of your business. Give them that respect. Allow them to have their space. Allow them to enjoy whatever privacy it is they want to enjoy. So as a caregiver, you have codes of conduct. You have things that guides your operations, the way you act. You have to be concerned about the way you appear. You don't appear anyhow. You don't appear looking tattered. As a caregiver, you are a professional and you must appear like one. You do not wear your uniform outside your work area. Now, this is a very big issue. Even in our home country, you see medical practitioners walking the streets wearing their scrubs, putting on their scrubs, have their pens in their pockets, and they're walking the streets. It is not right to wear your work material or your work uniform outside your work area. You come to work on your mufti, then when you come to the office, you want to change that and dress ready for work. You do not carry a baby while you are on uniform, unless and only if the baby is the client. Then you can do that. Make sure your phones are turned off. You don't want to be talking or working and the next thing your phone rings. Let it be turned off or let it be put on silent. But no matter how your phones are off, no matter how your phones are on silent, make sure they are fully charged, because most of the times your phones are the first point of call for emergency. Most times it's just you and Mr. Jones at home, and you don't want something to happen and you don't know who to call and how to call them. So your phones, as a code of conduct, as a practice, should always be fully charged, because it is your first point of emergency. Be mindful of your public post. There are some things you shouldn't be posting in the public. If you're now a health professional, you want to look professional at all times. So be mindful of what you put out there. Then your dressing cannot be indecent. You need to be dressed decently at all times. Then you cannot put out posts that are controversial. You can't make controversial comments. Controversial posts are related to sports, religion, culture, and politics. Things like that you shouldn't discuss. We have a situation where somebody made a comment and put a post on NSAS, and she lost a job opportunity she got simply because they saw her holding a black card saying NSAS. No, so those are extremely controversial. You shouldn't get involved with controversial posts, justice for Mubad, things like that. In case you don't know what I'm talking about, just go with the flow. So be careful about your comments. Even sports is a big deal. Sports is a big deal. Mr. Jones might be a Man U fan, and you're here saying, oh, up Chelsea or up Arsenal, and all of a sudden he begins to dislike you, and you're wondering, where is this hatred coming from? It might be that he's a stunk fan of Man U or Manchester. So you don't want to discuss things about sports around your clients. You don't want to talk, you don't even want to talk about religion. We have had cases where people are fired because they chose or decided to pray for their clients. You cannot pray for your client. You cannot say a word of prayer for him unless and only if he says, pray for me. I know you're a Christian. I know you believe in God. Please, can you say a word of prayer for me? But if they don't do that, you cannot just hold your hands and say, Mr. Jones, guess what? Close your eyes. I trust God. I believe that. No, you can't do that. It's religion and it can be seen as controversial. What if Mr. Jones does not believe in God? What if he does not believe that maybe he's whatever religion he is? So you need to be very careful about anything controversial. Politics, religion, sports. Okay, so that's it. You shouldn't talk about that. Okay, thank you. I hope you got value from this module. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye for now.